Good morning from the north. Things are still going very well here. Water's looking beautiful. I had their water changed and filter cleanings yesterday. I'm not going to do water today. I'm going to leave things be. But I do have to do some cleanup because I've been afraid to mess with this tank. There's a little more than 3 days of poop in there. And look how much, mind you, I'm feeding them a lot so that they don't get hungry and start snacking on their babies. So they're getting excessively fed and they're eating well. But they're using a lot of energy right now, so you got to do that for them. And look how much they're pooping. 3 days. The flow kind of pushes most of it into the corner there. I'm going in with a hose after this video to get that out. The babies are all staying around the parents, and that's good. Here's the, it's just judgment calls, See if we can get, it's really hard to see them in this light, and I have to keep the light dim, but there they are. They're doing well. Now, if I had that much poop in a single closed tank, or even in this single closed tank, because they got a couple days of poop too, but I'm not like crazy feeding them yet, and they haven't, you can see the difference there. Same timeline, 2 fish, but these guys have been eating and eating and eating, and I'm giving them everything they want. So they're being little poop machines, but they've got to continuously make slime, and so we got to keep them fed so they can feed their babies. And in 3 more days, I'll be introducing baby brine shrimp and North Fins fry food to get to help the parents out. But today we'll be getting that poop out. Now, if I didn't have the super system and I wasn't doing the continuous flow centralized system thing here, okay, the water would probably be fouled right now and the babies would be dead. But because the water is always exchanging with the other tanks and being cleaned through the sump, that's not happening. The water's staying. I'm putting like the UV water from the 54 watt UV light is coming straight into this tank, as well as the water from up here. So it gets an interesting mix of water, and it's working. It's working very freaking well. Now I got my hospital tanks offline. What's happened is I've lost some heaters, and I've needed to pull equipment, even a heater controller, off these tanks to keep everything else running. I operate on a limited budget. If you saw my budget, you'd be absolutely amazed that I've even pulled this off. It should be impossible, but I can be resourceful when I need to be. These tanks are offline. I need to get them back online. I'm gonna try and email a Higer again, because they got these little UV units. I want to get these sponge filters out. Okay, they're not good for this. I'm gonna put the Higer UV unit in there and maybe one sponge filter, but I really want to get them out. I just want to run on a filter, on a UV filter. And if I put a Higer UV filter in there and a Higer UV filter in here, I could use these to store babies. But I really don't want to keep things in 20-gallon tanks. It's not good. It's not good. So this is where my mind is right now. Now, last spring/summer, I was getting ready to. I started building this. I was building this because I figured it was going to take me 12 to 15 months to get the Discus into breeding range. From babies to producing. Most other fish would easily have done it by then, but Discus are more like stingrays. It's closer to 3 years than it is 1 year. So for me, it's a little over 2. And so I'd start building this last year because I was getting ready for the situation that's happening now. And this whole setup down here was intended, and is intended, or it was for sure intended to house baby Discus. I put 1-month-old ones in there, and 3-month-old ones in there, 6-month-old ones in there, and then the ones I'm growing out for future breeders and or to sell as large scale discus, for big money discus, $500 a piece kind of thing, full grown. They were going to grow out in here, but then I realized this was going to take a lot longer than I'd hoped after I built all this up for that purpose. And I started seeing people, that had Oscars, and they need to rehome them because a lot of people were losing their homes at that time. And we're in crisis here in Canada, right? But it's still happening. But there was a peak of people just losing everything, and so I started taking in Oscars from said people, and because I had all this space that wasn't going to be used for a while. Well, I'm going to need it soon, so I've got to build something for these Oscars. I've got to get these Oscars out of here. I've got some other tanks I can put the parrotfish in, so it's not a big deal. The small parrotfish over here, and then these will be opened back up. One solution I'm looking at is they have these canvas ponds. They're like big bags in steel frames, and I've seen fish tube channels with them set up, and they seem to work. And they only sell for about $250, which is a lot cheaper. So I can get something like 450 gallons for $250, and the front side of it has like a clear plastic window. So I'm thinking of running this 450 gallon puppy over on the other side there, probably up against the wall over here, right there. I'm thinking of running a 450 gallon one of those right there. And so then I can move all these big fish in there, and they got a better life. They're in 450 gallons now, but that's with all these tanks connected to each other. If I buy 450 gallons, pop it there, put a big canister filter on it and a couple sponge filters, and run it like a pond, I can move these guys all in there, and they'll be completely happy. So I think that's the cheapest solution going forward to accommodate these fellas. And then I can all I have to do, because I've had these tanks are cycled, thankfully, because of all these fish as well, right? So now all I gotta do is bump the temperature up, clean the gravel, clean the filters. I can pop discus straight in here because the environment is parasite free and ready to go. So I've got 120 gallons of storage here for all kinds of discus. I got another 65 here, 70 there, 70 there, right? Then it's got the super sump. Boom. Like, this whole basement is the super system prototype. And then I built it up big time because I want to store like 1,000 discus down here. Babies, mind you, little babies, as I wait to sell them. And then I'm going in that big tank, that's where I'm going to keep some big ones, because I've got to keep stock. I got to keep the 90 gallon with a bunch of adults, and I got to grow out adults, some to sell as adults, because it's adults. You get good money for adults. You just got to wait and grow them out. So, this is all long-term planning. This is an investment that will snowball and come back at me big time. So, I'm a businessman. I used to be in the IT field. I used to sell computers. I used to sell entire computer networks. I used to wire offices, just completely build everything from the ground up and put in office networks. I can't do that anymore. I'm doing this. I got to work from home. That's just the way it is. So I'm building myself another way, and eventually I'm going to be selling some of the best discus you've ever seen. And they're going to grow up in the best water you've ever seen. And I'm doing this my way. This isn't how everyone else does it. It's how I'm going to do it. Everything I've done has been with that target at the end of it. Even these tanks, I put these fish in here because they need to be cycled. This is like the longest fishing cycle I've ever done. And now I'm going to put all these fish in a big pond, and I'm going to dial these tanks up in about 2 months. If everything keeps going the way it's going upstairs, and I could be getting ahead of myself, but I don't think I am. I've put in my time. I've waited for these fish, and now I've given them everything they need. The best water a discus could ever hope for. And now they're going to pay me back. And they are. They're happily doing it. So, you give to them. Eventually they give to you. So these guys are going to get one big old 450-gallon pool right here. It's going to take up all that space. Can't see it because it's dark in here, but it's going to take up this whole right side. It'll stick out. And it's going to be awesome. And they're going to have a lot more space. And I'm going to run a pond for them. And yeah, that's what we're going to do. I want to build a big plywood. I'd rather build like an 8 to 10 foot long plywood tank along this wall, with a big old piece of glass, and do it that way. But to be honest, that's like probably a $2,000 deal if I have to buy the glass and everything. If I can find a way to get around the glass purchase, maybe $1,000. It's beyond me right now. Now, once I start selling fish, they'll get a plywood tank. But for now, they're going to get a flimsy pond, and I'm going to pray it works. I think that's what I got to do. Sad but true. So yeah, I got to contact Tiger. They told me last time they don't do product placements in Canada, but their policy might change. It's been a while. I'll drop them a line. I could really use some help with the UV units. But hey, it is what it is. The policy remains the same because of all this tariff stuff. Everybody doesn't want to touch anything in Canada now. It's kind of sad. Well, that's fine. We'll keep trucking on our own. There's almost no point asking, to be honest. That's been my attitude. It's not a good attitude, but I just accept the reality of the situation we're in right now, and that's just the way it's going to be. I've done this much on my own. I'll do the rest. You watch. I'm literally making miracles happen with pennies. Watch where I am 2, 3, 5 years from now. Just watch. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Oh, I forgot. Rumor has it I have a soothing voice. It's true. Some people say. Yeah. Imagine that. I never really gave it much thought. But, oh well. Guess I'm one of those folks with a voice for radio and a face for a paper bag. Have a great day.